President, often when we talk about rising crime, we talk a lot of statistics. For example, last year in Milwaukee, there were 194 murders. As I was prepared to give some remarks yesterday, got the stat that there were 26 murders already this year. That's an 86% increase. Unfortunately, last night there were 2 more murders, so now it's up to 28. 73 law enforcement officers were intentionally killed in the line of duty last year. That's the highest it's been since 1995. We had 3 police officers shot in a 2-week period at the end of January. Those are just some of the statistics, and I'm sure we've heard a lot more on the floor here today. But one thing I don't think we talk about enough are the victims. I heard President Biden's press secretary, Jen Psaki, last week. I guess she's monitoring different TV stations, and she remarked that one commentator was talking about soft on crime consequences. And she giggled and said, well, what does that even mean? Well, I'll talk about what it means. Excellent article in Just the News a couple days ago had some heartbreaking examples of those consequences. Last week we held an event about the open border, about the catch and release policies of this administration, record levels of people coming to this country illegally, and what that represents from a standpoint of national security and homeland security and crime. In Alabama's Chilton County, 2 illegal immigrants, ages 27 and 28, have been charged in the murders of 3 adults found shot and burned in an SUV. In another recent case, a Florida father who believed he was taking in a 16-year-old migrant minor from Honduras, a Good Samaritan, was killed by that migrant, who turned out to be much older and involved in crime. In Florida, a 5-year-old girl riding in her mother's car was crushed to death when an illegal immigrant from Honduras crashed into the car. The driver admitted he got into the car after drinking 6 cans of 32-ounce beers. In Harris County, Texas, an illegal immigrant from El Salvador is charged with exiting his vehicle during a routine traffic stop and fatally shooting the sheriff's deputy in the face. Those are just a few examples of the consequences of soft on crime policies. Those are crimes that were committed by illegal immigrants that take advantage of the catch and release policies on the border. But we're not only just experiencing catch and release on the southern border. We also have catch and release in our criminal justice system. These no bail, low bail policies promoted by generally Democrat district attorneys in cities governed for decades by Democrats. We had a tragedy in Waukesha, Wisconsin. It never should have happened. This was during the Waukesha Christmas parade, when children lined up on the street, on the curb, waiting to see Santa Claus. Instead, they saw a slaughter. 6 innocent people lost their lives. 62 people were injured, their lives forever altered. And it didn't have to happen, because the murderer had been let out on a $1,000 bail after having run over the mother of his child with that same SUV. That is the result, that crime, those 6 innocent victims, those 62 innocent victims who were injured, their family members, their loved ones, are the consequences of soft on crime policies of Democrat governance. So as horrific as those 6 murders were, as horrific as the 62 injuries were, What I can't get out of my mind are those little children sitting on the curb waiting to see Santa and instead witnessing the slaughter. How do they ever recover from that? Is that something that Jen Psaki ever thinks about? Is that something that President Biden ever thinks about? As Jen giggles about the consequences. These are serious consequences. We need to get tough on crime. We need to put violent criminals in jail, leave them in jail, so they don't create more victims. With that, Madam President, I yield the floor.